So, I recently got a new job, which has seen me take on a lot more responsibility, meaning that I now spend even more time and effort on my career. But at the same time, I've also completely overhauled my entire life so that I'm doing everything I want to be doing all at once. So now I'm exercising 5 times a week, I'm doing yoga every single day, I'm sleeping longer and more consistently, I'm eating healthier and cooking homemade meals every other day, I've started practicing piano again, I'm ramping up my focus on YouTube, and I'm spending more focused quality time with my family every single day. And I want to share with you the one simple technique that made all of this possible. Let's talk about it. Now, I'm sure you might already have some idea about how I'm doing this.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
And I can already hear the typing of the naysayers in the comments section talking about how I'm gonna burn out in a matter of weeks. And you know what? You might be right. But so far, it has been several weeks already, and honestly, I'm feeling better than ever. That doesn't mean that burnout can't happen, and later in this video, I'm gonna talk about how you might be able to avoid it. But first, we need to take a look at the one thing I've done which has completely transformed my life: time blocking. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, the idea behind time blocking is pretty simple. You basically plot out all the major activities in your day or week in big blocks of time, say 30 minutes for a workout on Tuesday morning, followed by 1 hour of reading and writing emails, and etc. And that's it. Really, there's not much else to it. If you think this sounds a little too easy to be true, then sure, you're right. There are more steps to it. There's not much else to it. But most of all, it's just about understanding and adhering to the underlying principle behind it, to make time for the things you care about making time for, and focusing on them for the amount of time you plot out for each thing. So first, I'm going to show you what my schedule looks like, and then you can follow along as I reconstruct it from the ground up and share the thinking behind what I did, as well as some key factors that were essential to my success. So, as you can see, my schedule looks absolutely insane. In fact, when I first showed it to my wife, there was a bit of genuine concern that I had completely lost my mind. But luckily, it turns out I never had that much of it to begin with. Anyway, at first glance, it might seem like I've just jammed activities into every nook and cranny I could find.
Not every nook and cranny, John.
But if you look closer, a lot of these activities are actually mundane everyday things like sleep or drive to work. But there's a reason for that. First, however, I think we should start with a blank slate and then take you through my process for designing the perfect week. Now, it's important to understand that when I say your perfect week, I don't mean some fantasy you have where you win the lottery on Monday, travel to the moon on Tuesday, and spend Wednesday nestled inside of Kumail Nanjiani's oddly enormous arms. No, what I mean is the most optimally designed week you can realistically schedule for yourself to allow you to do as much of what you want to do as possible, while ensuring you have enough time to decompress and that you're not running from one thing to the next in order to make time for everything. But that whole phrase doesn't roll off the tongue quite as easily as the perfect week does, so just bear with me for a second here. Now, when beginning with this blank slate, I think it's important to start building your schedule around the biggest, most immovable events that you have in your week. In most people's case, this will obviously be your job. In my case, I work pretty flexible hours, but I'm mostly there from around 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., so that's what I'm going to put into my schedule first. I'm going to do this from Monday and then set it to repeat every day through to Friday. And finally, I'll make sure to give it a distinct color so that you're able to quickly see at a glance what sort of activity you got at what time. So however you assign different colors in your calendar, just do that. Now, your work hours might be different from mine, or you might even have rotating shifts, but the basic principle of it is the same. Just plot in your work hours first and then build on it from there. And if anyone's interested to know what a plan like this could look like when working rotating shifts, I've actually done that before, so just leave me a comment and I'll send it to you. Next, I like to factor in transportation time when it comes to my work. And the reason for that is twofold. First of all, unless you work from home or live relatively close to your place of work, transportation time is going to be a factor in your everyday life. And you don't want to end up making plans for yourself that you won't have time for once you need to get to work. Now, you could decide to extend your scheduled work hours to include the time it takes you to get there and back again, but I think it's worth it to give it its own place in your schedule. This allows you to see roughly how much time you spend on transportation every day, and it can also work to your benefit in case you want to maximize your productivity and use your transportation time to also get something else done. For instance, maybe you take public transportation and you're able to get some writing done while you're on the train. Maybe you use the time you spend driving to make important phone calls, or maybe you ride the subway in New York and you can use that time to go to the bathroom.
I'm used to piss in the train stations. I can deal with pee.
Now, there's one other important principle that comes into play here, and that is restricting yourself to specific time intervals. And what I mean by that is, let's say you spend roughly 22 minutes driving to work in the morning. But instead of putting a 22-minute block of time into your calendar, you give it 30 minutes. This allows you to have a little bit of wiggle room, like let's say traffic is a bit heavier than usual some days, or maybe you left home a few minutes later because you couldn't find your keys. Either way, I think it's important to not get too specific with your time blocking, because that could lead to more stress down the line when you realize that you're now 3 minutes behind schedule and your whole day falls apart. So I recommend always working in at least 30-minute intervals. You could do 15 minutes as well. It's up to you, of course. But again, I find it more important to be realistic and not try to pack too many things into your day. So in my case, driving to work takes roughly 25 minutes in the morning, so I'll make that a 30-minute block. And driving back home usually takes about 40 minutes, so I'll have that take up a whole hour. And hey, if I get home and realize I have an extra 20 minutes to relax or spend with my family before I'm off to the next thing, that's just extra bonus time that I can enjoy without feeling guilty about it. Next, I try to work backwards so I can figure out how much sleep I need. And trust me when I say this, sleep might just be the most important thing you can focus on if you want to live a healthy or happy life. I know all too well how tempting it can be to think that you can skip out on a few hours of rest in order to get more time to do what you want to do. But if you don't get enough consistent quality sleep, then you won't be nearly as productive in the hours that you are awake, and ultimately, you're not gaining any extra time at all. So my advice is to plot in 8 hours of sleep every night. That way, you get at least 7 if you do end up stretching it for a few minutes before bedtime. But in order to figure out where to place my sleep, I first have to know when I need to wake up in order to have time for my morning routine. Now, maybe you want to dedicate a period of time each morning for working out or reading or something else. In my case, I'm just going to plot out 30 minutes for my basic morning routine, which consists of me brushing my teeth, showering, getting ready for work, and so on. And so I arrive at 6 a.m. as my wake-up time. So I put in 8 hours of sleep Sunday through Thursday, and now I can see exactly how much time I have left from when I get home and until I have to sleep. In my case, I have 6 hours. And I still want to exercise, play piano, work on YouTube, and spend time with my family. So let's plot that into our schedule. I'm going to work out from 4 to 5 every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and then add in a short run on Tuesdays and a longer run on Sundays. Then I'm going to plot in some time to cook and meal prep twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays to make sure I have enough food for every day. Next, I'll put in some blocks for family time. And the reason I don't just leave this blank is because I want to prioritize this as an activity where I'm present and focused on my daughter, and not just think of it as free time to do whatever in. I also make sure to plot in some time just for me and my wife every Friday so we can catch up and watch a movie together or whatever. My daughter has ballet every Sunday, so I'm just going to put that in, as well as a bit of time to hit the playground afterwards. Then, once it's my daughter's bedtime, I'm going to practice piano for 30 minutes, then spend an hour working on my YouTube, except for on Saturdays where I dedicate a larger block of time for it. And finally, every night before bed, I brush my teeth and do a bit of yoga, so that's 30 minutes for my evening routine. And that's how my entire week looks. As you can see, I've packed quite a bit in there, but once you start thinking about your schedule in terms of these blocks of time, it becomes really easy to prioritize whatever you feel is most important to you. And using different colors for different types of activities is just a great way to visualize how much time you spend on something. Like maybe you feel like family is really important to you, but looking at your schedule, you can see you don't make enough time for it. That's really what time blocking is all about. You know, I feel like when we think about or talk about productivity, we often get caught up in thinking about it in terms of how can I get the most work done? But honestly, it's really about how can I optimize my time to do the most of the things that matter to me. And that's where blocking out your time can be a really invaluable tool. Now, you've probably noticed that I've kept Saturday almost entirely blank, and I'm sure you can guess why. Time blocking can be a great tool for improving your productivity, but it's also important to make sure you get some rest sometimes, as well as leaving yourself room to be a little flexible. Like maybe the weather's nice and you find yourself wanting to go to the beach, or maybe an old friend calls you up and wants to hang out, or maybe you just want to sit on the couch and play PlayStation or binge some Netflix. Getting some mental rest and relaxation is very important to ensure you don't burn out from the constant barrage of tasks you're doing. But you won't feel quite as relaxed when you're doing any of these things if you have an impending task in your schedule hanging over your head the entire time. So make sure to free up at least a little bit of space in your schedule for when life happens. Alright, that's it for now. If you found any of these tips to be useful to you, then consider giving this video a like and subscribing, as it really does help out the channel. Let me know in the comments down below what you do to remain productive, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.